Yo, 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 we're back. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. And guess what?
What?
We'll be off next week too, because it's Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Which I didn't even think of.
Nah, it's okay. It's okay.
Man, so you have been all over the country in 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, there and back. Yeah, for sure.
So what I did see, let me see, the last video I watched for 5-star was the subwoofer on the back hatch.
Yeah, that was today.
That was today's?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm up to date.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I'm not, but you are. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You know, I missed one podcast because we were in Vegas and I forgot to load it, and that sucked. But SEMA was just a merry-go-round, like really fast. It's just like I felt like we landed. The first day we were there was probably our longest day.
Yeah.
Like we met Mike Rios, and he took us out for some really authentic Mexican food, which was fantastic. Like I like a good chimichanga, but everyone always.
Whoa, we lost Dean. So Dean did have computer problems joining. That's why we had a slight delay. We'll wait for him to come back. Here he is. He's back. His computer said no.
Well, it just finally figured out what time it was. So it went from 12:41 to 8:30, and it said, "Yeah, I'm out of here." So,
SpongeBob'd out.
Yeah. So, anyways, I like a really good chimichanga, and they had like probably one of the best chimichangas I've had, in a long time. Which I think on the next show we can talk about all the food that I've had in the last. Not a lot of food, but just some firsts that were really fantastic. But, so then we went to a couple dealers, and then it was like we found out what we were going to be talking about, and like the final, like, okay, this is all we're going to be talking about, which was the new Jeep kit, stage 3.
I did see those videos. I seen at least one of them. I don't know how many you put out, but
I think just one. One is enough. Yeah. Which was cool. Like we were kind of leery about going back to SEMA and then talking about a Jeep again.
Yeah.
But we were like the first day we were like, oh no, this is going to work great. Like we were pleasantly surprised. As it turns out, everybody really wanted this. So like the demos we were doing were just like, oh, this is fantastic. This sounds great. This is exactly what I wanted. This is cool. I I don't know how many of them we sold, but we were just killing it. After the first day, I was like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. And it was just like,
and this kit comes in at a cheaper price point than the original, right?
Yeah. So this one comes in like $3,500, and it's
like $2,000 less.
Yeah.
So it's not a little bit.
Yeah. So they took all the rear out. So we kind of had to. So once we found out what we were going to be doing, we had to figure out, okay, how did we lose $2,000? Because you don't just give somebody the same thing and remove $2,000. You can't do that. So
right.
It was like the rear soundbar, believe it or not, is super expensive. So you went from one T1 sub. I'm sorry, from two T1 subs, 12s, to 112. So that's like $600. The rear speakers, those are like $500. It's like $1,100.
Right.
Either way, and then with the soundbar itself, we went on and priced comparable soundbars, like from like DS18 and a couple other guys. And so the $2,000 was actually those three things, believe it or not. And so it was great because everyone was like, oh, you're using the factory soundbar, and I was like, just relax, let's hear it before we make. And everyone was like, oh Jesus, because they DSP'd the crap out of it and put a ton of power to it, so it sounded exactly who needs rear fill. Somebody listen to the podcast.
I'm slipping because I like to start by reviewing some of my thoughts on the podcast. Let's start with the one before that.
Okay, go ahead.
Where listen, the people who don't do channel assignment the way that you and Brian described it in the podcast are absolute psychopaths. How many people don't do it like that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah, a lot. And then a lot of them think they're doing it that way, but they don't ever check.
Yeah.
So I can guarantee you, anyone that brings in a car for us to tune, they've never been right. They've always been wrong. And it's like you try to tell them, like, you don't understand.
Right.
You don't. I just need you to tune it. No, you don't understand. We're going to spend 2 hours just fixing the routing of what you've done. And it's not like you can just move channels. You physically have to go like figure out what did they do, and like,
Right.
because like you'll have an amplifier that have like a left mid and a right tweet on the same, and you're just like,
No.
it's not how this works.
Yeah, and for people that didn't listen to the podcast, basically all your left speakers will be odd channels, all your right speakers will be even.
I mean, it's
Working from the
essentially just
front.
like wiring up an amp.
Yeah, working from the front back. And apparently people have arguments against this. I don't know who it is. I assume they're registered sex offenders.
Okay. I mean, so we put the podcast, to answer your question, where is the podcast? The podcast is in 2 locations. You can go to podbeam.com and find it there. That's pod, P-O beam, like a beam, B-E-A-M. Or just go to iTunes and type in 5-star, type in Car Stereo Talk. It's real easy to find, but there's the
Yes, and it's also on Overcast. It's everywhere. So I use Overcast. You just
so
type it
yeah,
in,
so they
they
scrub
distribute it out. So
they scrub off of iTunes. Then that's cool.
yep.
We
Yep.
do it every week. It's me and Brian Mitchell. We film. We do film it, but we don't. It's just an audio podcast. Literally, it's Brian laying on his couch with his microphone right here.
Yeah. I can
SEMA is
picture
not
that in
open
my
to the
head.
except for the last day. The last day of SEMA is open to the public, but you do have to get tickets. So it's like $100.
Yeah.
I think they should open it up more to the public. But then again, the amount of traffic they were getting that wasn't, so like it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is just vendors, or just industry people. So automotive people, whether it be paint and body, stick, anything that touches a car is at SEMA. And the traffic we got this year was the busiest SEMA we've ever been to. Like, just trying to do anything was next to impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard horror stories of like, people shoulder to shoulder walking through aisles, and it's like, okay, I mean, yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
So we can get there early because we're vendors. We have a booth. You're with Rockford. Our badges say Rockford. So we get there early so that we can go walk around and see stuff. So we would get there about 45 minutes early.
Yeah.
We got there early on the one to film the show that we did, the walk around show. And I was excited because we did film a travel video that we haven't put up yet. I'll probably put that up next week. But I was excited because we went and saw the RC cars finally. So I wanted desperately to go see those. So we got to see those. I got to talk to some of the guys. I got a cool little 6-inch lanyard thingy that was cool. So that was a lot of fun. I've never liked rear fill. Yeah, it's funny. So even though I listen to the podcast, just to make sure that it sounds good and all this other fun stuff. And plus, like, sometimes they're weeks, months ago when we actually, recorded them, because I don't release them in any specific order. We just record a bunch of them and I just drop them as the spirit moves me. But we did get nerdy, so that because in one of the earlier podcasts I said, wouldn't it be cool if I was on the right and you were on the left? And so that's what we do. So if you're listening to them, it's not mono. It's very stereo. So the intro music is stereo, so it'll sound like it's coming from the center. But then immediately I'm on the left side of the car and Brian's on the right side of the car.
Right.
Which
Unless you're Chris and you can't figure it out. And then he says his car didn't sound good because Brian messed up the playback when he tried to put it mono on the pod thing.
Sure. Okay, Android boy. Yeah. So I did take advantage of that, and no one's complained, which is great. Because I think that's one of the bummers of a podcast, is that everything just crams into the center speaker, and it's just like
Mm.
it's kind of no fun. So, doing it this way, because it records as 2 audio tracks, so I can do anything I want to it. It's not like it's doing it after so it's really neat. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. But anyways, so SEMA was a big hit. We had a blast. And
Yeah, we had company vehicles there for
for the
Triton
batteries.
Energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had 2 Jeep builds. I forget what they call them, but they're lithium powered,
Yeah.
basically. So
Fire starters.
yeah.
Hurricane fire starters. Hurricane candles. That's what we call those. They just keep
Yeah.
burning all night long. Yeah, it's a fun podcast.
You
It
should
really is.
Stuart. Speaking of rear fill, so what's funny is like I've been on both sides of this. I think in the beginning I was kind of a hardliner like Ryan,
Right.
where I think when you kind of get into like sound quality competitions, they're more liberal now than they used to be back in the day,
Right.
but they're pretty hardcore. 2 channels, no rear fill.
Yeah.
And I was kind of the same way. And then eventually I just wanted a little bit, kind of like you described, to just add a little bit of ambiance to it.
Yeah.
And I would say most people want it for loudness.
Yeah.
And I'll like in the Troopers, same thing, loudness, because
It's such a big vehicle.
and it's horribly, like, all the positions are horrible, and I can fade it up and not mess with anything. Like I can have just the sound quality sound if I want,
Yeah.
or sound quality-esque, I will say.
So back to SEMA for a minute. The funny thing is that Jeep is basically your dash,
Yeah.
and it's got a DSR1 in it. But iData hasn't made the harness to put the DSR1 in your Jeep yet. So I was like, hey guys, like, because I had iData and I was talking with them, and I gave them a demo, and I was like, where the fuck is our cable, man? Like, how come I can't do this yet? What is going on?
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, that. I'm like, uh-huh.
So obviously it's coming, but
Yeah, it'll be here soon.
Yeah.
Because it's the same data bus. It works the exact. They just changed the harness.
right.
So I mean, there is hope for your Jeep. You'll be able to just AR right
Yeah.
into it.
Well, really, hope is pretty optimistic, because when you really think about it, it's a Jeep, first of all, and I have the soft top.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
so
bought
the Amp
worst
Pro is
vehicle
out
in
for.
town.
Well, the Amp Pro is out for your Jeep.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
you can meet, but as far as like using something that has a DSP, but yeah, because the Amp Pro is out. Actually, we're working on a Jeep right now. It's Sharpie colored. It's so much fun. Ooh, and okay. So for all you that are gonna stick with the show for a little bit, about the halfway point, I just got a box tonight, so I have all my deliveries sent to the house now instead of the store, because deliveries have gotten really weird at the store. So I have something sitting over here that I know everyone is going to want to see. So I figured I would show it to you guys first. I got permission to show it, so it's okay.
I got a delivery from Stillwater.
Yeah.
So we might do a quick flash.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about what I got. I'm talking about what I got.
Do you have permission to show yours though?
I gotta ask the owner. See.
Oh, okay.
No. But
anyways, so SEMA was just a whirlwind, man. It started. We went 100 miles an hour. It basically wore me down, man. I mean, there was a couple nights where I was just like, the last 2 nights, man, I was dead. I had dinner with Eric Russell.
Yeah.
And I got back into the room. I don't even remember. It was early. I mean, it was like 10 something, and I just like, oof. And I just the foot of the bed. I just laid down for a minute. I woke up like 4 hours later, going, "Oh shit, I should get a shower. I got to get up in like 4 hours."
What happened? Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last night, it was like we went out to eat with Eric and Bosley, who's in charge of like all the cars and trucks, and he's in the show a couple times. They have this really nice Italian restaurant there that we go to. And it seems to be like the thing we do on the last night in SEMA. It's because we've done it every year so far. And it
Right.
was like, and we're all like, okay, well, we're done. Went back to the room and I just was like, turned on the TV. I was like, I'm not even ready to pack, man. Yeah, I was way too just, but
I was like that after the old school meet.
I bet.
Traveling, we done the weekend before we were in Alabama,
Right.
and then done the old school, and I just traveled so much. Like I didn't have a dean schedule. I think I had like a 3/4 dean schedule or a half,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know what, we're good for the year. Well,
Well, the funny thing is like the girls were gone the 3 weekends before,
yeah,
because they had like a cruise, they had a parents, they had a run, and I left to go to SEMA before they even got back. So I saw them like in a couple handful of days over the past 5 weeks.
yeah,
And then when I got back from SEMA, they picked me up, and went to work for 3 days, and we hopped on another plane to fly back to Arizona to go to Dino's Get Down, which, dude, that thing is insanity, bro. Like,
what it is it
so
exactly?
Dino's Get Down is the largest C10 Chevy truck car show on the face of the earth.
Hmm.
Okay. When I tell you there are more, okay, so Disney parking lot, Disney, like
Right.
Epcot. Okay. So it's at the State Farm Stadium. It's at their football stadium. And they fill the whole half of the, like, it's like a Disney parking lot car show with
Wow.
C10s. Like, you could walk all day and probably not see every truck that was there.
Wow.
So then that's just a car show. And then you have the vendor show where we were. And then the opposite side of that, you have like specialty trucks and more vendor stuff. And then they have a loop that these trucks can drive around all day and just
Yeah.
kind of like show, go for a cruise and show, play their music and honk their horns and do their hydraulics or rev their exhaust or do whatever they want. And so people just walk around all day. There's thousands and thousands of people there, and it's free. It's free to get in. Like,
Wow.
it's all paid for by the vendors.
Hmm.
It doesn't cost anything to have your truck there. So the first day is from 5 to 7, and it's only C10 and C10, like Broncos and
Right.
trucks. Blazers, sorry, Chevy Blazers. And then the second day they expand it out to like some cars. So, and that ends at like 3. But the funny thing is they don't turn the lights on. So by 5 o'clock, you're like, all right, let's go home. Because, it's dark. The 6903 is going to sound better because it has a tweeter. But it's a fitment issue. So if you can fit a 6903, you go with the 6903.
There you go. Yeah, I think
Yeah, Swizzle Sticks was there.
that setup is similar to Slamology, where they have a drive-through lane so everyone can drive through and kind of see everything.
Nice.
And it's huge. Like I see why people like going to that.
Yeah.
Because
I got to get out there this year,
Yeah.
hopefully.
It's clearly, I don't know if it's gonna be the same because they're moving it, but it's clearly, I think it's like the best cardio show around.
Yeah.
So
it was weird. It was a weird experience because, like, it's consumers and like, we're there with I was there with Mobile Solutions. Haley and I were there with Mobile Solutions, and we're talking about, like, just trying to get these guys done. It was a weird sell because it's like, we had a mock-up door panel that we were working on, and like, do you guys sell this? And we're like, no, we sell you the tools
to make
we sell you the tools and the intelligence to make it. We have a school.
right.
And they're just like, half the guys are like, oh, really? What's that? Tell me more. And then, and then other guys are like, oh no, I just want to buy it. I just want to buy it. I don't want to learn how to build shit. It's like, okay, no problem, man. Just keep walking. So we did it. So the first day was rough because we'd never done anything like this before. Yeah, he definitely needs way more. And there again, so you gotta remember, Swizzle Sticks. Now that I've been there, a lot of people have been like, do we need to be at this thing? And we're like, yeah, you need to be at this thing. But it's weird because there again, it is consumer. So you know, some of these guys go to like motorcycle and they go to Jeep stuff, and it's very similar. So you have to figure out where you're going to fit in because these guys want to buy stuff,
Right. Yeah.
you know. So, you know, the first day was rough because we really didn't have an idea of what they'd be interested in. But after the first day, Brian went back and changed out some of the stuff he had brought, and we sold a lot more the next day, which was nice, you know, because we kind of figured out you know, I was like, you need to go get this stuff because I think this will do well. And I was like, dude, as soon as we put it on the table, people are walking over going, what is this? Oh, yeah, I'll take it. And I'm going, all right, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah. They didn't want the router jigs. They needed something
No,
else.
they did.
They did want the router
They
jigs.
wanted specific router jigs, though. They wanted them for, you know, that have the speaker holes in them already.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, so it was just a matter of figuring out what they were asking for and then go, yeah. Yeah, Swizzle Stick Splatter's ruler while he was there. So
Professional instant. I think that's like 10 experience points towards being a professional.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no, it was a lot of fun. I mean, you know, we stayed in a hotel. We were staying in a loft hotel.
I'm stating that. You know what? Did you like it?
No.
Yeah, me neither. They're trying to be all fancy and like modern. And,
it's stupid.
yeah, it's like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no closet. It's just these bars on the walls.
Yes.
And it's like the one thing I will give it is the bed was super comfortable. Like the bed was fantastic. I mean, like to me, that was the most important thing because I was freaking tired, bro. We had to leave here at we had to get up at like 3 a.m. because the first day we were going out to Sweet Tomatoes. But the last day we had to get up at 4 to leave because we had another early flight so we could like be home on Sunday. But you know, working all day in the sun and just talking to people and just like on concrete, it was like, oh my god. So like the Tyson fight, you know, everyone's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I was like, oh yeah, shit, man, we'll go back to, you know, let's go get some dinner. And you know, we put on the fight and we watched some of the girls fight, which I thought was fantastic, which we did. But then, you know, I'm laying on the bed getting ready to watch the fight, and the car rolls out with him in it. And dude, I closed my eyes because I was like,
I got buffering, dude. I couldn't watch it at all.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible.
You know how I seen it? On this iMac, we had like 10 people over.
Yeah.
It was buffering. We had it hooked up we had the laptop hooked up to the TV. That didn't work. They ended up finding a TikTok stream that would stream it. And the biggest thing, we couldn't do TikTok on the laptop, but we could do it on that laptop or Windows, for whatever reason it wasn't working. So the iMac picked it up. So we had the room, this room crammed full of people with seats everywhere.
Yeah, watching a TikTok stream. You have an M2 or 3 processor.
Yeah, it's an M2.
You use the mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's how we watched it. It was vertical. We were all sitting here hunched over watching on the iMac.
That sounds so bad.
It was horrible.
I was hunched over with my eyes closed listening to it, and then I watched the first round. I woke up because Haley goes, "Are you sleeping?" I'm like, "No, I'm just not. I'm just resting my eyes." And I watched the first round, and then ding, and I was like, "I'm gonna close my eyes until the second round." And I woke up at the end of that, and it was like,
you didn't miss much.
No,
you didn't miss anything.
I was like, all right, whatever. But yeah, it was like I need sleep. So so the bed was comfortable. The room was stupid expensive, but it was within walking distance of the stadium. Right. So every morning we could walk to the stadium, and I had a car, but we didn't have to take it anywhere. In the where Dino's is at, where that stadium is at, dude, they have because they built their hockey arena there, and then the hockey team left. But it's like there's all these restaurants, and there's a movie theater, and there's apartments, and there's businesses, and it's like this little downtown that is freaking awesome. So there was like 30 different restaurants there to choose from, and it was great. It was, and there was stuff to do. There's this new place that just opened called Chicken and Pickle. And we're like, so it was like a Chick-fil-A? No, it was chicken and pickleball.
Oh God.
So think of Top Golf,
Yeah, but
but
with pickle.
pickleball.
Wow.
This place was massive, as you can imagine, because it's just there's like 20 pickleball courts.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. But yeah, Swizzle Stick was right. There was only a handful of audio places. So obviously Rockford was there, JL was there, Maxonic was there. There was a dealer that does Morel was there. And then there was maybe a handful of stereo shops, if that, one or two stereo shops in the local that do stuff. Like one of the guys that has a stereo shop there that actually built Dino's car, and that was in his booth on display. So, yeah, it was interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I'd like to add it into my rotation of events to go to, because as far as like ending the year on something like that, it was a lot of fun, you know. Yeah, pickleball is taking over Vegas. I don't doubt it. I mean, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was rewarding and relaxing, you know, because it was like, you know, and the nice thing is like but when the day's over, you just go back to your room because there's nothing to do, you know, but sleep. So
man, I've been so busy at work. I wanted to put the audio control subs in, but first I got to install an amp. But I'm glad I waited, because I'm just gonna give you guys a corner peek. You're not gonna see it all. We're gonna. Does yours look like that?
Well, mine looks like this.
Ooh, look at that.
So is
that the 5-channel or the 7-channel?
This is the 7-channel.
That's the 7.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is a developer gold master of the 7-channel. So they got 5 in, apparently.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of the same situation, but it's one of the monoblocks.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So
they wanted me to have the 7-channel, so we gotta tear into this thing this week or probably next week, and get a video up and tell everyone what it does. And
nice.
Yeah, it showed up, and apparently there's a ton of Warhorse like distribution and power blocks and all that crap.
Yeah, those look cool.
Yeah, I was kind of anxious to see those. So everybody wants the 7-channel. They do, but they don't have. So they had they're like, we're gonna send you the 7-channel. And I said, okay, cool. And then they text me or they email me back and said, okay, we can't send you the 7-channel. And I go, well, just send me. I said, listen, I don't care. I just want to play with it and figure out how it works so we can figure out how we're going to shoot these videos. And he goes, oh, we're getting them in though in a week. And I said, okay, fine, great. I'll wait. I won't be here anyways. So he's like, yeah, we have 5 coming in. And I was like, perfect. So
there you go.
It showed. I got an email Monday, I guess, that said it's on its way. And I was like, oh, thank God. So, and I'm like, so the funny part is in all of this is this like, we haven't had shit to talk about all year. Okay.
Yeah.
Like we get bits and pieces of shit here and there, like, but nothing really major. I mean, you know, we did like updates to DSP software. We've had some fun with that this year. Dude, in the last 2 months, it's like I've got like all the audio control amplifiers. I've got the new head unit. I got this. I've had some kicker stuff come in. The new, which we haven't even talked about these yet, but the new Kenwood amplifiers. They didn't even bother to tell anyone they were updating the amplifiers. They're like, yeah, we're fine. And I'm like, wait, what? They're like, yeah. I'm like, because I said to him the other day when we were talking, I was like, hey, you guys said you were coming out with new amplifiers. SEMA, you didn't have them. He goes, yeah, we didn't really care. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, I mean, it's not a power change. It's not like hugely cosmetic. I'm like, yeah, but you totally redid the amplifier. And they're like, yeah, I'll send you the pictures. I go, I mean, send me the amps, but sure, the pictures are fine. So the 802.5, the monoblock, and the 4-channel in that series have all changed. So it's going to be an 803.5 And if you've ever seen the 802.5 in one of the videos or you own or anything like that, everyone always complains about having to use fork terminals.
Right.
That's always, it's like, oh, what is this? 1992 with fork terminals? Ugh. You know, and you're like, I kind of like the fork terminals. So now they're all, you know, slide in Allen key fun terminals because they appear.
I don't like those for speaker terminals myself either. The ones
I think the fork terminals work way better
for speakers. I agree, but I hate the forks.
Power has to have it,
but yeah.
But so those, and then there was this little plastic plate on it. That's no longer plastic; it's been replaced by a metal plate. So, but they're physically the same size. It's just a rev. They're really, and there again, that's one of my favorite amplifiers. So I was just kind of like, what?
Well, that's like Kenwood low key makes like the best budget banger out there.
Nothing looks like a JL. Nothing like a JL. No, they don't look anything like. They look exactly like they did before. Just instead of having a little weird parallelogram, non-parallelogram piece that came off, it's straight across. You'll see them tomorrow on the news. We'll put them up on the news. So if you tune in tomorrow, you can see what they look like. But those will be shipping in the next 30 days. So they're like, yeah, go ahead, talk about them. I'm like, oh, well, thanks. Thanks.
They're out.
Well, they will be.
What would you say your favorite looking current amp is? I think this is a way weird pick, but I like the Gladen amps.
The silver ones?
Yeah, with the fins on top. They kind of look Zapco-esque, like the old Zapco.
Yeah.
Mosconi, I think, could get a word in, but they're kind of a little bit abstract with their design.
But that's what I like. I love the. Okay, so he's not wrong when he says SMD LED lighting. I really love the SMD amplifiers. I love the look of it.
Yeah,
I think it's really snazzy, and I think it's cool. But I also look at a Mosconi Pro and go,
they're very like industrial. I would expect to see them at a rave on the wall.
The SMDs?
No. The Mosconi Pro.
I was gonna say I could see the SMDs on the wall blinking their lights.
They really could though. Yeah, they could.
Dude, that's like a stripper club waiting to happen, bro. It just screams stripper club.
And then the
light, and there's just so much going on. I think they're sexy. And there again, I did get to see Steve at SEMA, and I got to talk to him for about 5 minutes between nonsense. And I was like, listen, man, I'm gonna fanboy out for a moment because I love your new amplifiers. I think they're the sexiest things that anyone's come out in a long time. So and everyone's like, oh, I don't know, maybe. I was like, I don't care. I think they're fucking cool looking. Yeah. So, take it for what it is. And I was like, I told him, I was like, dude, if you could capture somebody's essence in an amplifier and build it, they captured his with that amplifier because they're like, you could look at that without SMD on it and be like, yeah, that's Steve. It's something he would build.
I would not
about Audison. Yeah, we can.
I would not. I like Audison amps personally, like the amps themselves, but I would not rank them in the sound in the looks department. I don't think.
So listen, the only amp that Audison makes that is simply breathtaking is
a Thesis.
Yeah, right. Vente, which is like $11,000. So I really can't get behind that as far as like sexiest. I mean, it is. There's some really pretty amplifiers that come with a price tag that is so unrealistic. So I got to kind of kick those out because it's like Mosconi Pro is within the ballpark of most people, and it's like, it might take you a year to save up to get something like an 830, unless you can just max out a credit card really quick or hit a credit card kind of hard. It's only $4,000. Whereas a Vente, it's like $11,000 for just one amp that like I still need 3 or 4 of them.
Right. Although I will say another shout out to Ground Zero, who I think is doing some really cool looking with their open plate amps with their back plates.
Oh, with the Ultras?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there
I like
again,
those.
$5,000 amplifier.
Right. Right. But hey, well, listen, if we want a budget pick, this one's a throwback. So I'll give a shout out to a specific color on the Down for Sound amps. They have like a gun, I think it's gunmetal or battleship gray.
Yeah.
That color is super dope.
And I think, and there again, I think JP is really doing a good job of feeding his audience,
Oh yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah, they're
So
the right price point, got a little bit of nostalgia, and then
yeah,
you got the rainbow of colors. So hey.
I don't like
I don't like the Helix ones
the
either.
C ones are stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Helix is awesome. I like Helix in general, but I don't like the looks of their
No,
amps.
I could care less about the C ones.
Yeah.
They just yeah. And as far as their non pretty amplifiers, I like out of all of them, I think the M's are the cleanest. The rest of them, it's just too chaotic.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they're like, to me, the square landmines of all different. I need shit that like I can put two amplifiers next to one another, and it's like they all have to be the same size. Like everyone is dealing with the Bronco video right now, where it's like that one Helix amp is just stupidly big, and it's like this is
Right.
dumb, and that just kind of ruined the whole thing.
Well, like
you
if you're
know,
going special editions, probably like the Zen 9, like the one you sold to Derek.
That's a pretty amplifier.
That
really
is a
was a pretty amplifier.
and I've seen it in an install at
Yeah.
World Finals one time, and it really is awesome.
Yeah, that was a tough get rid of,
Yeah.
but I knew I would never enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's I don't have that attachment to Phoenix Gold like a lot of people do.
Right.
So I knew I was never going to care about that amplifier. Like the Crown is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like simple stuff though. So like when you look at like the old punch amp that had the 5 little in it, the
Yeah.
chrome, or the black. I thought that was really, really basic, but I thought that was really, really cool.
What like as far as old amps, I liked a lot of just straight up heatsink amps.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean,
Like the 225.
Yeah.
I think it's it's just a really classic old school amp look.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. If I ever came out with an amp, I would want it to look like an Orion 225 HCCA. I've already told everyone. It's like, look, if you want to make an amp, that's what I want it to look like. I want it red.
Yeah.
I want it to have similar. It doesn't have. I just want people to look at it and go, oh, I see where it's coming from. I don't want it to look like it. I just want it to. You can connect the dots and be like, I want an updated version of it. Kind of like,
Right.
Freaking West Coast Customs did with the DeLorean.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like what they did.
Had their own Orion amps for a minute.
What's that? Oh
West
yeah,
Coast Customs
I
had
think
the
we still have
WCC.
some.
Do they really?
I think we still have 1 or 2 on the shelf. The Kicker IQ amp sure looks sweet. In a very basic way, they were very adorable amplifiers. They were.
Those were some of the
cleanest
amps they made because Kicker has a history of going a little crazy. Like KX, idiot.
Yeah.
SX,
so it's
idiot.
like even the new LX, the stripe down the center has been a debate for a very long time with them.
Right.
And this wasn't the color I picked. I wanted a different color, and they were like, "That's nice." And I was like, I had some backing. I had a couple people that were with me, but in the end, they went another way, and it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I mean, I like the look of the KX, although I like the color of the MX, so the Marine, because they have their teal color. I like that better than the red, but
yeah, I just green.
This amp, I agree. This was a cool looking amp. The Blue Thunder Pro.
Okay.
Very straightforward amp. It was cool though. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, MTX.
Yeah, and then MTX had like the 22 or 225 HO, which I also thought looked cool.
I mean, I think Rockford has probably had some of the coolest, oddball looking amplifiers over the years.
Yeah.
And there again, I feel like everyone gets at least one. I mean, there's like Audio Bond with the Flame Job. I mean, they're just classic looking things. Soundstream with the and the Tarantula.
Yeah.
You know, those were just neat.
Did I
And
tell
even
you
a
about
lot of
the?
the Phoenix
Did I
Gold
show the
stuff.
human rain
What's that?
that we saw? We saw a real the real human rain out
Oh,
at the
nice.
old school meet.
Oh, nice.
I don't think I even told you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Jay Grunfelder brought up. He's a huge collector of the old school stuff, and he brought up a real human rain, not the ones that they made revisions later, like the original. Had the original receipt that the dude in Canada bought it
Oh, wow.
from. Had the original box.
Nice.
It was pretty awesome. Got to pick it up, hold it, look at it. It's a work of art.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the
It's
sad thing
ugly.
is,
It's
is
ugly
we
as sin,
had
but
one
yeah,
when I worked at AV. We had one in the case forever. We probably gave it away at some like dirt cheap price just to get rid of it because we had to buy one.
right.
You know, so it's like that's the funny thing is a lot of the stuff I've put in people's cars or opened new or had sitting on a shelf, and like all the Macintosh stuff. Like Jesus Christ, I've gone through so much Mac, you know, and it's like, dude, because I mean, dude, we sold Orion, we sold Rockford, we sold Kicker, we sold Soundstream, all the original shit, none of the second tier shit. You know, this
Yeah,
was in the 90s. You know, so oh yeah, a lot of that stuff just kind of slips through your fingers. It's like, damn. You
yeah.
know, because there again, at the time, you just look at it and go, whatever.
It's just worth the value at the time. It's used value at the time because it's not a classic until many years later.
Correct.
In
So
some very special things are classics from the moment they get dropped, but
yes,
not everything.
no, and especially, you know, who would have thought that very small niche group of, well, of course, there is always a very small niche group of people that
Right.
want to collect old shit. You know, and it's like, ooh, it's this. And it's like, yeah, it's not, dude, it was brand new. It sold for that. Okay. Why are you buying an old beat up one that, like, no,
Right.
stop. Stop. It's not worth that.
That's
Ever.
I always give Derek crap about he loves the old flea market stuff from back in the day to
Ugh.
collect as collectors, right?
Yeah.
And I hate to admit it, but I think he's kind of right that like this stuff was not sold as much. Nobody kept it. Nobody because he's trying to look for like new and box pieces and
Yeah.
stuff.
No.
And he's like, this stuff's never like nobody's gonna have this stuff.
No.
And I was like, you're probably right, but I still think it's worthless.
It is worthless.
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy,
Yeah.
I sold the 222 SX was $249.99.
Yeah.
You know, it's $1 a watt. I mean, it was,
Mhm.
that's all it was worth, you know?
We were buying used 225 HCCAs for like $1.25 back in the
Yeah.
day, you know.
Now these guys want like $280 for a shitty one. It's like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty crazy for sure. I don't like it.
Hey, once it becomes collectors, you know, like BMX or anything else.
Well, you know, I'll tell you all right now. If you want your modern Rockford stuff, so you can collect it and be like, I got a punched amplifier from 2024. Buy it now. Buy it now, because all that's going away in what 8, 9 months, 10 months. All be a thing of the past.
Oh, what's going on with them? I haven't been. I'm not hip.
Yeah, you haven't caught any of that, huh?
No, I haven't.
So Rockford did something at SEMA that they will never do again. But so they invited like 180 people to a special unveiling of what's happening for next year. So next year is the 50th anniversary of Rockford.
Yeah, I think so.
It's either 45 or 50.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Either way, it's a big corner. You know, they're really excited about it. So one of the projects we've been working on with them for years now is bringing back the 12-volt line. It's been very difficult when people would comment and say, you know, rock for this and rock for that, and you know they're not in the 12-volt game, and I'm like, okay, you're wrong, but whatever, you know, because we couldn't talk about it, you know, and it's like for years now we've been sitting on this. Like they're literally revamping every 12-volt product it's all gonna be new power, new punch, new prime, and not just new, epic, legendary shit. Like they've seen what everyone else has done, And they're like, yeah, we're gonna do what Rockford does. We're gonna lift it to the next fucking level. We're not just coming out with a DSP amp. We're coming out with the DSP amp. We're not just coming out with speakers. We're coming out with the speakers. We're coming out with technologies that don't exist yet.
Yeah.
We're using tooling that isn't even like, nobody uses the tooling that they're using to make the surrounds on their new subwoofers. They're basically using tennis shoe machines to make surrounds. So because now they can design a surround CAD, a surround to do exactly what they want it to do, instead of just buying some rubber fucking spare hose tire thingy that's been bent and pressed. Now they can make the surround from scratch and design it with tension points and weak points and change the sound. And so like the T1 woofer that came out is the first woofer of its kind to use this new surround that nobody has ever used. Like that was one of the things they were talking about. They're like, we wanted a new surround. The biggest problem we've ever had with the T1 is building a surround that could handle the woofer.
Right.
And we've just not been successful with it. So we knew we had to look outside of the box. And that took us to the tennis shoe industry, where like they can make any shape they want with any thickness and elasticity. They can do anything they want. So they found this dust chemical, whatever, plasticky shit. I don't remember what the hell it's called. It's got a cool name, like all Rockford stuff. And they can form it into the surround in any way they want. And it's like, fuck, that's cool as shit.
As long as they don't do like Pioneer. You remember when Pioneer did this?
No.
They had ripples in not like the bands, but it was like it looked like this.
No, they're not doing anything stupid. It's already out. The T1 is already out. It's already there. It looks like a normal surround. You'd look at it and go, there's nothing different. Right. But then if you really looked at it, you look at it and go, wait a minute. Those are some really interesting angles that it's doing. It shouldn't be able to do that. And then you touch it and you're like, that's got a weird texture to it. That's a little different. Like,
right.
This isn't a heat formed rubber surround. This is a little different. So that's going to happen. So punch is going to be the first thing that's going to be new. And so they're doing away with the nomenclature of P1, P2, P3 being good, better, best.
Yeah.
What it's going to, so it's almost like they fell into this. So P1 is going to be your coaxial.
Right.
P2 is going to be
components.
Your two-way.
Yeah.
Okay. The two ways are going to have a phase plug, and you can take the phase plug out and make it a coaxial if you want. It's going to be the crossovers are no more of this.
Yeah.
Every crossover, and they're not doing just a fucking candy bar. They show the prototypes, so they're these cool little. They look like small Twix bars.
Yeah.
And they slide into one another like this. So if you want them all to go in one place, you can. Otherwise, you just pull them apart, and you can put them where they need to go. The speaker has a cool basket on the bottom, a cool, magnet card. But if you need to, just twist it, unlocks, it comes right off. Like everything is designed around fitting. So they Vero. What is the car rental one where you rent a car? Yeah. Anyways,
yeah,
they rented 50 of the most popular cars on the road today. Okay.
Yeah.
And they scanned the whole goddamn car. Took the whole car apart, scanned the whole car, scanned the whole door, scanned everywhere there was a speaker, everywhere where an amp could go. They've been doing this for years. So they've been scanning these cars and getting this data. And so now in the box, you're not going to get a grill, but they do make grills for everything, even a 4x6. You're going to get a mounting bracket that is designed around fitting in the 50 most popular cars on the road today. So, which they're making. Then the P3 is going to be a 3-way. So, and they're again custom fit, designed to go in everything, the right depth to go into things, not a 6x9 that isn't going to fit somewhere. They're going to have all shapes and sizes. They're going to have coaxial. They're going to have a 3.5. They're going to have a 2.5. They're going to have a tweeter. The tweeter is really cool because there's no wiring attached to the tweeter. The wiring is attached to the cup. Okay, so the tweeter, it's a 3. Every P series product is going to have a 3/4 inch tweeter. It's the same tweeter all across the board. So whether it's a P1, P3, they all have the same tweeter. So the linearity will be the same, or timbre will all be the same. But what's cool is, and this one kind of threw me because I was like, wait a minute, I need to go touch this thing. You take the, so you know what, you take the tweeter, the cup is really tiny because the tweeter is microscopic, even though like it's just edge to edge. It's I want to say it's an inverted dome.
Yeah.
And you just, all the wiring is on the cup.
So it's like a contact when you push
You
it
just put
in.
the tweeter in and turn it, and it locks into place, and it makes contact, and then you take it out. And that way, if the, because they said, look, the two things we get the most back are tweeters and subwoofers. Okay, so we want to make it easy to replace. I go, just make a better tweeter. You know, tell people how to set up their crossovers.
Yeah.
I mean, problem solved. But they want to make it easy for the tweeter to come in and out. And I was like, okay, I get it, you know, because they just don't want a bunch of crap. And yet, you know, they don't want to cut wires, and so they're trying to. The whole thing was like, if you were to give nerds the just go to town, that's what happened, and so that's what we're getting. So everything they're doing is just like ridiculously like overthunk. Like you go, oh, did you? Yeah, we did that. Oh, really? Did you do that? Yeah, we're doing that too. Oh, okay. What about, yeah, no, okay, fuck. So anyways, all the speakers, the punch will be first. Super cool. And there again, it's not like some of these features don't exist. It's just they're being brought up to the future.
They pulled an Apple.
Right.
I'm like, hey,
So,
yeah, everyone's had this, but we're going to do it.
everyone had an MP3 player.
Right.
We're just making the best MP3 player.
Right. Yeah. Which I would say Rockford has done in the past, which put them so far ahead of every other company. You know, it probably put them 5 to 10 years ahead of big companies like Kicker and JL.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they're,
but other companies, they're 20, 30 years ahead of other smaller companies.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, they're, you know, Zach, who's in charge, is not about being second to anybody. You know, the fact that it's going to take them like time to do this is probably the most irritating thing for him, because, you know, he wants it now. You know, but he also realizes it's going to take time. So now then you move on to the amplifiers. The amplifiers are all going to be small, so they're all going to be compact amplifiers. To launch, there's going to be a 6, a 4, a 5, and I think 2 monos. But they're all DSP amps. So think of like Q class, but smaller. And there's a link cable that goes between the amplifiers.
Nice.
Okay. They're all DSP. The DSP is going to be Bluetooth, which I was like, really, guys? And they're like, no, it's fine. But the killer in all of it that I was like, I told them, listen, I'm really nervous about your idea here. I hope it works, and I can't wait to see how it works. And they're like, well, it's already working. We're just you know, finishing it up. And I was like, okay, is that like if you bought a 6-channel, a 4-channel, a monoblock, it just sees it as, once you've set it up, it just sees it as one big piece of software.
Yeah, it's like,
which nobody's been able to do that.
Right.
The Q class, you had to page in and out of amplifiers. JL,
you have the brain to.
What's
you
that?
had to have the brain to even control them all at once.
Yeah, and the same as with JL. ARC is the same, you know. So this is supposedly, going to just be like, no, here's all your stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I'm sure there's going to be limitations to it once it actually happens. Our problem with Rockford as a shop employee is they haven't changed any things in so damn long. With the DSR1, they could have innovated and done more. So the problem with the DSR1 is really simple. They built it with data to do a specific thing, and then they walked away from it. They know they did. They know they did. But it just wasn't their point of focus. You know, it got them on the page, and it helped. So you got to remember, everything that Rockford has done up till this point is getting them to where they're at now. Okay, so somebody's got to pay for this shit, right? Really, at the end of the day, somebody's got to pay for this. And the technology that they're putting in these amplifiers, Harley paid for, Side by Side paid for. You know, 12 volt hasn't paid for shit in years. It's just been maintaining. But to develop what they're developing. They have everyone's like, they don't do DSP. They've been doing DSP, deep DSP for years in the other markets, like, understanding A to B, understanding most, and all these things. These are all things that they've been doing. We know they've been doing them. That's why we're just over here sitting there when people are, these guys suck. It's like, you guys have no idea what they're actually doing behind closed doors that they can't talk about with you guys. So, the DSR1 is just one of those things that kept them relative for a while. And you're right. The DSR2 should have came out. They should have done updates. I can't tell you how many meetings we were in where it's like, here are the 5 things that please implement. And they're like, somebody should do that, but it ain't going to be us. You're just like, come on, man. Shit, seriously. Right. But there again, Arc came in and solved that problem because the PSM Pro plugs right in and does all the things you've ever wanted the DSR1 to do. So problem solved, just by somebody else.
There you go.
So all mini amplifiers, all DSP amplifiers, new subs. They didn't have any of the sub stuff to talk about. They just really had the amps and the highs. So it was super exciting. We got to touch prototypes and look at these samples, and like I'm holding the new 4-channel, and it's like this, dude. It's freaking sexy. Like the back is off. It's just like the chrome here. Well, that's not chrome, but the aluminum heatsink.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're just looking at how it's laid out, and it's so beautiful, man. It's like, these guys are really putting their heart and soul into it, and they have the budget to do it. So,
yeah. Well, and how long we've been doing this show? 3 years now, or maybe
something like that, yeah.
Maybe more, but I think since like the very first show, we've been saying like DSP the world, like put DSP everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yay for straight power amplifiers. Even the LX, the features that they have in it now were not the features it was going to ship with 4 years ago. Right before COVID, when this amplifier was developed, there was a lot of yelling going on, mostly from me, at you're wasting my fucking time with this amplifier. Like remember Kip? Remember that guy?
Yeah.
We're sitting in the fucking restaurant after the show, and I'm like, listen, you guys are all super choked up about this thing. It's going to be an epic failure. And they're just like, what? And I'm like, it doesn't have a DSP. I know you're replacing a KS, but people aren't looking at it like that. You killed the KS and the Q class at the same time. Guess what everybody cared about? Q class. Nobody cared about KS. They wanted the 2500.1 and they wanted a Q class. Okay? You guys didn't see it. You didn't see it coming because the bean counters were like, we barely sold any of those Q classes. DSP is a waste. No, the price point you had it at was a waste. You need to. So, this piece is way more advanced. They went back in and looked at the biquads and were like, what can we do? So now it has like delay built into it, has a better crossover. So, Kicker gets it. They're just, and there's some other cool things that are coming out from Kicker too that we can't talk about yet, but,
I got stuff from work. They struck gold with the key at the right time. It was the right time, the right place. So
we all know what the key's doing. Like all the key stuff is cool, but no, there's other stuff coming out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hitting at.
Yeah.
That's the start of something. That hit at the right time, in the right place, and there's other things in the pipe going down.
As far as like, what do I think about Down for Sound? I've only like worked with one of them. Like somebody had showed up with like their big, I think they make a 7-channel. Do they make a 7-channel?
Yeah, they make a pretty big 7-channel.
Yeah, so it's a monster. We had to tune a guy's DSR1 on his JP 7-channel. It's a pretty amplifier. I don't know JP. I don't know his products. I've never worked with them. I have nothing bad to say about them. I think they're pretty. I love the colored idea. Mm-hmm. I look at them as fantastic fan service. I laughed with everyone when we all sat there and watched him. Hey, if the amplifier has 2 sets of 0 gauge input, run 2 fucking 0 gauges, you dumbasses. That's a thing. That's a thing. If you're going to buy a 4,000 watt amp, be ready to run some power to it. But
Yeah,
Arc
it's
was in the KS class and was worried you were bad mouthing Arc Audio K line. No, I wasn't bad mouthing KS. I was
yeah,
merely saying when they discontinued the KS and they discontinued the Q class at the same time.
right.
The only amps people wanted to replace was the 2500.1 and the Q class with DSPs. They wanted the next amplifier line from Kicker to be power and DSP. That was it. And they didn't see it that way. So there was a break apart.
And specifically, everyone wanted that 5-channel because it was the first one to sell out when they
Yeah.
stopped making them.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
No, I would no, Arc is there again. New stuff coming with Arc. He's playing with some beta software right now that was really cool. And I'm like, can I show the beta software? And they're like, no. Yeah.
oh,
Damn it, you suck. But
well, that's what happened. No show next week.
Thanksgiving.
Hope you have a good Thanksgiving.
Well, hey, if you want to do something on Thanksgiving morning, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, make sure to tune in to 5-Star Network, 5-Star Car Stereo, because we'll be doing 5-Star on the beach like we always do. It's an hour earlier this time because apparently we have somewhere to go at 10. So we'll be doing it at 9 instead of 10. It's always fun. It's Haley, myself, Fernando. We have the beach in the background.
Your mom was on there last year, right?
Mom was on there last year. Who knows? I can't promise you anything. You know, she might wander in and just stare at the phone like she always does.
Yeah.
You never know. It's always fun to have mom stop by. But yeah, so this Thanksgiving, as always, Thanksgiving live from the beach. Come rain or shine, we've done it in the rain, we've done it in the clouds, we've done it on beautiful days.
Yeah.
So haven't gotten it. Yeah, check it out. It's a lot
check
of fun.
it out. Yeah. Yeah, it's a Thanksgiving tradition for me as well. I always tune in. We never eat that early, so it's like, yeah, let's listen to these chuckleheads say something about something.
I'm just like, I gotta get up earlier now.
Yeah.
Damn it.
But if you're not tired of us and you want to hear us talk about other nonsense besides cardio, we do another show.
Yeah.
I have watched a lot of TV and movies this past 3 weeks.
I can't wait to hear what you watch to see if we watched anything the same.
I'd say we have. We're both kind of curmudgeon in certain ways.
I don't even remember half of it.
I wrote a note so I could.
Oh, good.
I wrote notes for what I watched so I could remember.
All right, fantastic. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
See you in a few weeks.
See ya.